Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host for today, Riley Magnuson. This is the closing bell for Wednesday, March 1st. The calendar has turned. It is officially March. Jeff and I teased it yesterday. The March sports calendar coming up. Obviously, we are huge college basketball fans and, talking heads to some degree. So we are absolutely juiced for March Madness and everything that's coming up. As you can see with me popping in here, Jeff is, and if you saw us yesterday, Jeff is, I don't know if he's there yet or heading there, but going to be in attendance for the Boston Celtics game tonight, as far as I know. So it is, you are stuck with me for the next 30, 40 minutes, like I usually come on by myself without being able to go back and forth with Jeff. Probably going to keep it fairly short and sweet here. Blast through some college basketball and NBA. Don't have a mind for NHL, so can't lay down too much of that. So without further ado, I don't have too much else to blabber on about before diving in here. So as far as any news going on around the league, I mean, as far as any rants that I can lay down, tough news. I don't want to speculate too much, and maybe it's all hearsay, whatever. But someone needs to grab John Morant and explain to him what type of role he plays in the culture of the NBA, and the type of role model that he is, and the power that he can have over the next 10 to 15 years, and not even just right now. I mean, honestly, one of my three favorite players to watch in the entire NBA, and if you didn't see it, just more and more goofy stuff coming out. Maybe there's something that was said today. He claimed it was self-defense, but a couple different stories on top of whatever happened with his crew and the Indiana Pacers about a few weeks ago, whatever it was. The maturity level needs to rise. I mean, the guy is the face of a franchise that now is a perennial playoff team, and you make one or two right moves and could be a championship contender, and on the short lists of the most exciting players in the league right now. So that is tough news. So again, I'm not going to go too much further than that. But as far as last night is concerned, what we talked about with Jeff, if you saw us on Twitter, Jeff laid down NC State plus 6.5 against Duke. Got it at the horn with the buzzer beater down 7 to get it to 4 for the cover there. So that was the biggest fireworks for sure there. Aside from that, Big Ten wise, we were actually leaning towards Indiana getting a win. Iowa goes nuts with another win after their crazy comeback over the weekend, 90-68 over Indiana. That probably, if they didn't already, and I think they probably were, that certainly punches their ticket for sure into the dance. Florida and Georgia, we were not sure about those two teams. Florida finally gets it done. Maybe they've got a run in them. VCU gets the win yesterday by 12. They took care of business. Aside from that, actually, Michigan State took care of business against Nebraska. Finally, some regression from Nebraska. I was leaning. I think both of us were leaning. I know I was leaning towards Texas Tech covering against Kansas. That one got to the window, 67-63, covered 8.5, 9.5, whatever you caught it there. That was a good winner for Texas Tech, and way under on that one. Tennessee, big over Arkansas right now. Both those two teams, obviously, going to be a factor in the SEC tournament. Tennessee, obviously, for the sake of them, hopefully their worst is behind them, and now they can get back into form potentially there. Texas A&M takes care of business against Ole Miss. Looked like it could be a tough spot for A&M, and they get the outlasted win there. So we'll dive into today, like I said, keeping it short and sweet. So obviously, I think starting tomorrow, today the first game is about 50 minutes as far as college basketball is concerned. But I know starting tomorrow, just about wall-to-wall college basketball. Probably not the most star-studded game starting in the morning. I know my Illinois State alma mater is starting about noon my time in the MVC, and that's obviously against Northern Iowa, two losing teams there. But nonetheless, I mean, if you got a TV and you're looking for some action tomorrow, you're getting it early and often, starting at 11:30 my time, 12:30 East Coast time. Some Sun Belt action tomorrow, MVC action. But as far as tonight, I know we've got Big South tournament first round starting up in less than an hour. Still, obviously, some big games in Power Conference games. Northeast quarterfinals tonight. OVC tonight. Hercules, that's Big South again there. So should be a good night of college basketball. We are going to be rocking and rolling with it. So diving into it now. Let's see, 5:30 my time, 6:30 East Coast time in the Big East. Providence hosting Xavier. Providence minus 3.5 with a total of 151.5. This one, I believe, is stuck around minus 3.5 most of the day here. Xavier just got the win over Seton Hall on the road as short favorites, 1.5-point favorites there, and got the win, 22-point win there at Seton Hall. Before that, they had lost to Villanova at home, beat DePaul. They've been a little tough on the road, or they've had some tough luck on the road over the last couple of weeks, aside from that game against Hall the other day. Providence has won 3 out of their last 4. 2 home wins, Creighton and Villanova, 2 really nice wins there. A loss at UConn, and then a win at Georgetown. I'm all over the place. At Georgetown over the weekend by 20. So going back to it at home, their home line against Villanova was only minus 3.5. Their home line against Creighton, they were actually underdogs. Both these 2 teams ranked in the top 25. I would love another point if I was really feeling, trying to respect this line here, but I will lean towards Providence. Curious what we've got for some bets and money on this one. 55% of bets, 70% of the money on this specific book here on the Providence spread, and about 71% on the money line there. So that one could be, I think that one's probably going to be a really solid game, so it could be a tough one, probably pretty damn sharp on that number there. So it's going to be a tough one to get into, but the home team has reigned supreme for the most part in the Big East in a lot of these conferences. Xavier has been a pretty solid team on the road, 6-4, but Providence has been absolutely nails at home. So either you respect Providence at home, or you think Xavier's got some stones on the road here and can give them some problems. Which absolutely, I respect that opinion for sure. So I'm going to skip over that one. Into the Big Ten, 6:00 my time, 7:00 East Coast time. Maryland at Ohio State. You've got Maryland freshly ranked in the top 25 AP. 21st is Maryland at Ohio State, who obviously has had a terrible, terrible season. Just got the win over Illinois a couple days ago, 72-60. If you've paid attention to us, Ohio State is obviously in the midst of a really tough season. They've had some stinkers along the way. Last 2, they've looked a lot better. Lost at home against Penn State, 71-75, but it was a good fight. And then obviously the win against Illinois. They're a lot better than their record would suggest. So the fact that I think it was earlier in the day here, +1 Ohio State, or actually even opened up +2, 2.5 there. Now is flipped to Ohio State being favored. Probably going to see a lot of public interest in Maryland here. So I think this is another spot where Ohio State could be kind of stingy in the spot here. And as much as I like Maryland this year, and they've been really good, they're playing really well right now. And to see them as underdogs here at this point here, maybe I respect the opening line to some degree, but Ohio State has actually looked. A lot of their losses are really close losses. So now if they're getting a little bit more into form here, they could absolutely pull this one out. So I'm actually going to lean towards Ohio State in this one tonight. Going to stay away just in fear of some regression after the win. Maybe they can't do 2 in a row, but I think this is a great spot for Ohio State to string a couple wins together and maybe get some confidence going into the Big Ten tournament and maybe knock off a team or two. Not going to go on some dream run that's going to get them, like Georgetown was a few years ago. Most likely not, but this was a team that was ranked in the top 25 in early January that obviously has had as disappointing a season as anybody, especially now that Kentucky and North Carolina are rounding back into form. Ohio State is a contender for the most disappointing season based off their preseason expectations at the very least. So Auburn at Alabama in the SEC. Auburn 19-10, Alabama 25-4. I'm seeing 9.5, 10 on the line in that one. Alabama, the home team in this one, 154.5 is the total. Alabama obviously playing really well right now. Obviously have the Brandon Miller stuff going on right now, but hasn't fazed them too much on the basketball court or him for the most part there. Auburn has been going back and forth for the most part here. Loss going back to February 11th at least here, last 5. Loss at home against Alabama, 8-point loss. Bounce back with a huge win at home against Missouri by 33. Lose at Vandy by 2. Tough one when you're trying to lock down a tournament spot. Excuse me. Bounce back with a win at home against Ole Miss, 78-74 as 12.5-point favorites, and then lose by 32 points at Kentucky, red-hot Kentucky team. So now you're in a bounce-back spot again here against your better rival. With that 9.5, this was one where the single digits kind of lights up to me a little bit as a spot for Auburn to, after playing them well the first time around, maybe give them another run for their money, and in my opinion, at least keep it within that single digit number there. The high total, obviously, Alabama has been a freight train at times. Their offense has been fantastic. But this Auburn team can score when the recipe is right. So if you've had success with this Auburn team in certain spots, then go ahead and fire away on them as a big underdog. Obviously, if you've had success with Alabama, you know what the situation is, but they've had some trouble covering some of these big spreads here. Lately here, obviously they've been fantastic at home, but only 10-7, obviously positive, but only 10-7 to the number at home there with some of these big spreads. So I'm going to lean towards Auburn on that one. One that's standing out is pretty damn stinky, and I'm going to check to see what the public buy-in, not as drastic as I would have expected. Pittsburgh, number 25 now per the AP, number 25 Pittsburgh at Notre Dame. 10-19 Notre Dame up against at home against 21-8 Pittsburgh. This one stood out to me as a sneaky one here. Pittsburgh only 3.5 on the road at Notre Dame. If you've paid attention to that, with a total of 143, 142.5, which is interesting to see that total with the way Notre Dame has been playing. I honestly would say maybe this one goes over too, but. Notre Dame, if you've paid attention to them, might be one of the least entertaining teams to watch in all of college basketball with the pace that they play at, lack of offense that they have. They are an ugly watch, and to see them only 3.5-point dogs here as opposed to at home against UNC recently, 6.5-point dogs, at Wake Forest, 7.5-point dogs, at Virginia Duke, 12, 13-point dogs. Even home to Virginia Tech, 5.5-point dogs. A few games ago, earlier in February here, 2-3 weeks ago, 5.5-point dogs to Virginia Tech, and now you're 3.5-point dogs against Pittsburgh. Winning plenty of games in a row, 21-8. Like I said, they're a tournament team, they're a ranked team. This is one that I'm interested in. It's a tough pill to swallow. I've had a couple of times of success with Notre Dame. Other times, when you try to you think it's a number. That might be solid for them. They can definitely shit the bed. But at the end of the day, this one is glaring in my opinion here. I'm seeing about 65% of bets and money on this one specific book here on the spread on Pittsburgh. And then you look at the money line, it's about 80% there. So this one is definitely sending off some signals to me here. As far as I know, this line hasn't moved much. It was 4 and dropped down to 3.5. So I am actually probably playing Notre Dame a little bit here with some interest in the money line as well, plus 150. So maybe I'm a little nervous that it could be a close one. Hello, TJ. Happy birthday. I don't remember if that was yesterday or a couple days ago. Saw that one. So if you missed us saying happy birthday to you, my friend. Thanks for stopping by here. So if you got any questions, lay them down. Cruising right along through that ACC game and now probably into the later stretch here. I'm skipping over some of these mid-major games for now. This one was interesting to me. I'd be interested to see if anyone had any certain thoughts on this one specifically. Oklahoma and Kansas State. 7.5 is the spread. Kansas State at home here. This one would have felt like a statement a few weeks ago. Now you're at a point where K-State has been solidified pretty firmly. Top 15 team per the AP. They're number 11 right now. Oklahoma 14-15. So now at K-State here, this one kind of seems like it's a little slim here. I would have respected a little bit of a higher line. At least I think. I could be wrong. Oklahoma, obviously, another team that is better than their record suggests. You've probably taken some rough beats with them. They have covered at Texas. They were actually 10.5-point dogs and managed to stay within that one. They were just at Iowa State and won, actually, as far as I know, 61-50, unless that's wrong information on that one. But at the end of the day, this one could be a goof. I could be wrong, and this one could be a bigger than people would have expected. If anyone disagrees with me, I have been trying to figure this one out all day. Oklahoma's had a lot of success in this matchup lately. Going back over the last couple of years, they did win the first one, 79-65 between these two teams, February 14th, and that one was at Oklahoma there. So maybe some revenge. Oklahoma was actually favored -1.5 in that spot there. So this kind of a situation where I think Oklahoma could give them a run for their money. Another team that isn't a tournament team. They're going to need a miracle run, but could be getting into some type of form to be kind of a dark horse spoiler for some of these teams in the Big 12 as well. So I'm not interested. I'm not taking it, but I'll go on a lean towards Oklahoma in that one. Huge spread in Creighton for Creighton and Georgetown. We'll skip over that one. Texas and TCU, the other game here, another game in the Big 12. Number 9 for the AP Texas at 22 TCU. TCU minus 3.5 at home. 149.5 is the total. This one opened up, I believe, according to this, we've got opened at minus 2 TCU there. So now up to 3.5. Texas lost their last game. I believe that was over the weekend, February 25th at Baylor by 9 points as 4.5-point dogs. Before that, had won their last couple at home against Iowa State and Oklahoma. Struggling a little bit now on the road. They're actually 4-5 straight up on the road this season. TCU obviously has had some injury issues. They've been a little back and forth lately. Did just get a nice win. Obviously, Texas Tech has been they've been playing better lately, but at the end of the day, not a tournament team, but now a really tough out right now. A nice win at Texas Tech over the weekend, 83-82 as actually underdogs at close. Lost at home against Kansas before that. Won at home against Oklahoma State before that. So I do kind of like them at home here. Maybe a little inflated. I do like some of these Big 12 teams when they're underdogs in these certain spots, but I do think TCU could get the win here. And I'd prefer it, and I think you've lost the best chance to get into this one. If you got in when it was minus 2 and you might have been able to grab the money line, then I think that's probably a good play. At this point, minus 3.5 or minus 164 on the money line. That one's a little too past where I'd be interested in it at. This is the second time these two teams have played back January 11th, 2023. 79-75 win for Texas at Texas, so maybe another revenge spot here for TCU. Gave them a run for their money the first time around. Could be a great spot for them to get back on track. So I'm going to stay away from it, but I'll lean towards TCU getting the win on that one. Going over to the Big Ten, Penn State and Northwestern. 4.5-point spread, Northwestern at home. Over under 133.5, 134. Not quite low enough to respect an underplay, or to give the bells and whistles for an underplay on that one. Northwestern's in a spot where they've lost their last 2 at Maryland, at Illinois. Coming off of their huge run here before that, and they're obviously a tournament team, 20-9. They'll be just fine. Penn State just lost at home against Rutgers the other day after 3 nice wins, home against Illinois, at Minnesota, and then at Ohio State. Penn State's fighting for their tournament lives right now as well. This will be the first meeting between these two teams. We've seen a lot of these Big Ten teams go through these dips at certain point of the seasons, and maybe you say, and Northwestern's had a couple spots where they've lost a couple games in a row, and it looks like Northwestern might be in the time for losing 4 out of 5 or something like that, and then they've righted the ship. I wouldn't be surprised if this is I do respect the number to some degree, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is the time where Northwestern actually does lose 3 games in a row, or 3 of their last 4 here. They have to go to Rutgers now on Sunday, and that'll be a tough game as well. And you've got Penn State coming off of a loss as well, fighting to get kind of safely in the tournament. That's probably not going to happen. They're definitely going to be one of those teams, crossing their fingers on Selection Sunday. But I like Northwestern in a lot of spots where they're underdogs as opposed to being favorites of this nature. They are profitable at home this year, and they are 13-4 straight up at home. But it would not surprise. I'm not saying Penn State is the side. It just would not surprise me at all if Penn State gives them a really nice run for their money. I'm actually seeing 75% of bets and money on Northwestern in here. Not saying it's a big fat trap. You need to fade the public, but I'm actually gonna lean towards Penn State on this one, plus the 4.5 there. So could be a tricky spot, but that one should be a good game. This one's a little interesting. I'm going to stay far away from it, but at least worth mentioning. These two teams, Missouri at LSU, 21-8 Missouri. Last I checked, they were either projected 8 or 9 in the tournament right now, so they should be fine. This would be a tough loss for them. At 13-16 at LSU, if you've paid attention to LSU at all, you know what this season's been. They've been a very weird team, a tough team to watch, tough team to back. Only a 4.5-point spread at home here is a little 4.5. A good amount of the public on Missouri. Missouri's won their last 2. They did hit a stretch of regression. But now, last two games, two solid wins. Home against Mississippi State, who's no slouch right now. At Georgia, who's obviously had a disappointed season, but at Georgia as 3.5-point favorites. That was a decent win there for them. This one seems like they're kind of expecting some regression out of Mizzou again. I've stayed far away from LSU. They are in the same vein. This could be a 30-point Mizzou win, but I'll lean towards LSU actually covering and maybe getting this win in this one. Missouri won the first game between these two teams back in February 1st, 87-77 as 9.5-point favorites actually. So I don't know. This one just smelled a little bit to me. Again, LSU is bad enough. It wouldn't surprise me if this one gets out of hand, and I'm totally wrong. But I'm going to lean towards LSU actually finding a way and at least getting the cover and maybe even getting a win outright in that one. That one is a little gross. I think that about does it, unless I'm blanking. That about does it for what I had to bring to the table for college basketball. Obviously, that's a lot of the big games. If you've got any of these, small tournament games that you're interested in, I know there's I think it was tonight, a couple of semifinal games out of the. I'll find it here in a second. Semifinal games. I guess I could be wrong. But either way, if anyone's got any of these small tournament games, maybe I'm thinking of tomorrow. Small tournament games to talk about. Northeast, OVC, whatever it is, lay it down and I'll get to it. But we will move over to the NBA and then wrap things up real quick. To start things off, unfortunately, going to the Bulls and Pistons. My Bulls couldn't get the win last night. I don't think the number climbed at all high enough to where anyone with the Bulls ticket at the best number would have even covered the spread in that one. I don't believe. Tonight now, so a back-to-back for the Bulls. Now they are in Detroit, 15-47 Detroit, and a 6-point spread. If you've paid attention to us at all with the looking at these Detroit Pistons lines, especially against a team that, obviously the Bulls have taken their licks. They look ugly at times, but 2-1 out of the All-Star break with the Pat Bev move, people are starting to respect them a little bit more, especially against this Pistons team. 6-point spread is real concerning to me. That's been kind of a go spot. Out of the All-Star break, though, they at Orlando, 7.5-point dogs. They lose by only 2 and cover. At home against Toronto, 7.5-point dogs, and they managed to cover by 4. Last game at Charlotte, 7-point dogs, which is a little bit of a different spot. Charlotte's kind of in the same zone as them, as opposed to Toronto and Orlando. So this one kind of goes back into looking like those other ones. I am terrified of this one if I'm looking at the Bulls and hoping they cover. Hopefully they can get this win, and at the very least, if I'm right, it's a close win for the Bulls. But I am very, very nervous of this one. The Bulls have a huge, I don't know exactly what it is, have beaten the Pistons a lot of times in a row. Pistons very much in the tankathon, but they're going to want to, pick a spot or two to get some wins. They're probably going to be going full swing at this one. So I am buyer beware in the Chicago Bulls. I've had a lot of success with the Pistons, taking them in situations like this. If I don't enjoy betting against my Bulls, but this would be a rare time where I actually go ahead and fire away on it, unfortunately. So buyer beware of the Chicago Bulls there. Moving to Boston, where I believe, as far as I know, Jeff Dawson will be sitting for the Cavs and Celtics game. Solid game here. These two teams, I don't know if every single game has been fantastic, but I know at least a couple of games have gone to overtime between these two teams this year. 5-point spread for the Celtics. This matchup this year, yeah, I was right. 2 games only. Earlier on in the season, Cavs won them both, actually, as underdogs, 7-point underdogs at Boston. The first time around, 1.5-point dogs at Cleveland. Both games, I believe, went into overtime. Cleveland coming off a win against Toronto. They're only 1-2 out of the All-Star break. Lost at home against Denver. Lost at Atlanta. 119-136, and then bounced back with a really nice win over the weekend against Toronto. 118-93. Boston did just lose. They are 2-1 out of the All-Star break. 3 road games. This is their first home game back. At Indiana, 142-138. At Philly, 110-107 win, and then just lost a couple days ago at New York, 94-109. So I'm not as great with these Celtics lines, honestly. I do kind of, especially after the Cavs get the first couple of wins, they were both really close games. I do kind of like the Celtics in this spot here tonight. I think it could be really close to that one, and anything can happen. But I'll lean towards the Celtics getting the win for Jeff Dawson being in attendance, and I'll lean towards the Celtics getting a nice win, maybe even a convincing win against a team, another contending team in the East that has taken them down a couple times, and maybe they show up ready to go for this one. So I will lean towards towards the Celtics in this one. The Celtics now the number 2 seed in the East. If they want to be the number 1 seed, they're behind Milwaukee, obviously, but this is a big one that they need to get here as far as their schedule goes. So I will lean towards the Celtics for that one tonight. New York Knicks hosting Brooklyn, 7.5-point favorites. Against the Brooklyn Nets. This Nets team just last night were a 6.5-point dogs at home against Milwaukee and lost by 14. I don't remember. I know they were hanging around. I said I was really interested in the Nets. I was. The back-to-back concerns me, but after losing by 14, after this one just kind of smells a little bit, and the Knicks are winning a bunch of games in a row as well. So I'll lean towards the Nets again. Kind of a situation where if you liked them last night, you kind of got to be interested in them again. It's an ugly one for sure, but and again, the back-to-back situation makes it a harder pill to swallow. But this Nets team still got some talent, and this Knicks team is due for some regression. So unfortunately, I will lean towards the Nets, and they might even win this game. But I'll probably stay away from it. I didn't end up taking them last night, but had I done that, I would probably be on them again tonight here. Miami at home against Philly, -2 is the number. -1.5, -2 is the number. Heat hosting the Sixers here. Let's see. This Sixers team lost their last 2. They are 1-2 out of the All-Star break. A nice win at home against Memphis. And then 2 home losses, 2 close home losses, 1 to the Celtics and 1 to the Miami Heat. A couple days ago, 101-99 as 5.5-point favorites at home there. Heat obviously get that win against the Sixers. They are 1-2 out of the All-Star break, though. 2 losses at Milwaukee and at Charlotte. Now they are home. The Sixers have actually won, and this is actually that's going back to the playoffs there. But Sixers, this is the second game between them, so only the one game won there. Joel Embiid, last I saw, is questionable, so obviously that, if he's out and is out of this game, then I'm staying far away from it. Maybe that's why you're seeing the Sixers as underdogs. I honestly don't know what to tell you with this one. Obviously be looking out for Embiid. If Embiid's in and the line flips, then that line was assuming that he's out. If he plays and they stay as underdogs, I think the Heat might have a nice chance to get this one done. So I'll stay away from it. Hate trying to get in front of some injury news there. The Lakers and Thunder. Lakers without LeBron, and I believe they've got some other injuries aside from that. I think Anthony Davis is out tonight. D'Angelo Russell out tonight. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander still out for the Thunder, so that hurts them a little bit, obviously. They've lost 4 in a row. All out of the All-Star break here. 4 straight losses, last couple to the Kings. Lakers actually 2-1. Obviously, last one without LeBron. 109-121 loss at Memphis. Interested to see that they are only a 3.5-point dog here against the kind of the Darling Thunder. They are the Darling Thunder, but without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, it is a little bit tougher to gauge there. So I'm going to stay far away from this one with the injuries, but it is a little interesting that no Anthony Davis and no LeBron, and it's only a 3.5-point spread despite the loss of SGA there. So I'll lean towards the Lakers, but that is obviously a gross one there. Milwaukee now on second night of a back-to-back. This one is a little tougher. At first, I was thinking it might be a little stinky, but with how much love the Magic are getting, it might be kind of fair there. But at the end of the day, I actually think this one could be an Orlando number. 8.5 Bucks, 8.5 at home on the second night of a back-to-back after whatever it was, 6.5 or 7.5 point spread against the Nets yesterday. Let's see. I think this one opened even 9.5 and coming down a little bit there. So, and with Milwaukee winning as many games as they are, you can actually inflate this number a little bit and still get plenty of Bucks money. So I'm actually going to definitely lean towards the Magic on this one. They have been a solid team. They're 2-1 out of the All-Star break. They're 26-36 now. 3 games out of the All-Star break. Win at home against Detroit. Loss at home against Indiana, and then a win a couple days ago on the road in New Orleans. The Bucks have won plenty of games in a row in this matchup, but the first game, or the only game they played against each other, was a 7-point Milwaukee win at Orlando as 10.5-point favorites. So 10.5 down to 8.5 at Milwaukee. Obviously, Orlando's playing a lot better. But I'm interested in Orlando, especially with the Milwaukee in the second night of a back-to-back. I was thinking the Bucks were due for some regression last night. I think that could come tonight. Orlando rested a little bit more there, so I'm going to definitely lean towards Orlando there. Two more. We could skip over the Grizzlies and Houston. Not sure if Ja is playing. I assume Ja Morant is playing. Maybe he'll sit out after the news that's coming out today, but doesn't appear to be the case right now. Last one up. There's only one late game tonight. It's on ESPN, 9 o'clock my time, 10 o'clock East Coast time. New Orleans at Portland. Portland is -2, 2.5. The injuries for this one shouldn't be too bad as far as I know. No stars, really. I know Anthony Simons is still trying to come back. I think he might be in the lineup tonight. Lillard obviously is playing really well right now. They've lost 2 out of 3 out of the All-Star break. They obviously had the 70-point game for Lillard. And now the Pelicans have lost 4 in a row here. So at Portland, I'm going to lean towards the Pelicans getting it done in this one, finally getting that first win out of the All-Star break. And in that losing streak, they've got Brandon Ingram and C.J. McCollum look to be good to go tonight. So I am going to lean towards the Pelicans to get this one done. Cover that 2.5 point spread and probably get the win there. So that is what I'm interested in. I think the one game that I skipped over, Kevin Durant coming back. It's a 10.5 point spread at Charlotte. Not sure what to make of that one. I typically don't like a team in that situation trying to figure themselves out on night one, but you never know. Charlotte obviously is a tanking team, no LaMelo Ball, so that one could be ugly in either sense of it. So I'm staying far away from that one, but Pistons is one that stood out to me, as well as Orlando and the Pelicans. Those are 3 that I might be playing. Yeah, no LaMelo, so at 10.5 obviously is inflated for Kevin Durant there, but and obviously that's a tough loss. We need to have a Ball brother injury support group for Charlotte and Chicago here, TJ. So that one's unfortunate. Hopefully, I'm a fan of both of them, and hopefully they can both come back ASAP there. And hopefully the old Hornets, maybe the Hornets end up with Wembanyama or whoever else, anyone else that's going to help them there. But they've been winning some games, so you know what? If they need to get in the tank race, they need to drop this one here. So. Aside from that, I will most likely sign off here. I should have. It's been delayed, but I had my golf blog written for the weekend for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Just been having computer issues getting it put up. That's on my end, but that will be up tonight for sure. So be on the lookout for that. I've got 3 picks again, all 3 of them with top 20, top 10, and outright winner odds on them there with some sprinkles there. So be on the lookout for that. I don't have time to do a Bulls blog tonight, unfortunately. And if I did, I would probably be picking the Pistons. So I'm gonna refrain from doing that for my Bulls brethren there. So thank you to anyone who stopped by. Thank you, TJ, for commenting. And again, happy late birthday to you, my friend. Today is Wednesday. Not sure what the rest of the week looks like. I assume there will be some shows tomorrow going on Thursday. Whether that's me and or Jeff Dawson, I do not know. I believe I will be available tomorrow afternoon. So whether that's me and Jeff tomorrow or just me, I don't know. But obviously, stay tuned, stay tapped into Twitter. But once again, thanks everyone for stopping by. Good luck tonight on anything you do, and best of luck. Wager smartly, wager wisely. I'm always terrible at these closers, but without further ado, again, stay tuned for my PGA blog, and I will most likely see everyone tomorrow, and I assume you will see Jeff Dawson again tomorrow, and obviously cheer on the Celtics and be on the lookout for some Jeff Dawson pics or videos from the old Boston Garden there. So thank you. Happy Wednesday afternoon. Go enjoy yourselves, and thanks for stopping by.